questions, and then if I need to repeat one, you can let me know. My name is Tim Schofield, live in Brighton. I'm also a member of the Independent Advisory Group, which, for those of you who don't know, on large projects like this, the BRA appoints people from the community to try to serve as some kind of representative. Tim McHale. There's a list of people, so there's a group of us, and we actually got a preview of this a week or so ago, Tim. So some of these I've said to you, but I do want to repeat them. My general view is I'm supportive, like a lot of people were in the stickers. I think the project is far too dense for the space that we have. I think a lot of people feel that way. And something that's come up, I've heard a lot of people talk about, is, I think they would be supportive if it wasn't so dense, if we had some more space. And I think a lot of us are concerned that Harvard has more space to give. And I don't know if Kevin's still here. I'm sure he'd love to hear that, but Harvard was here. For example, something that came up at the IAG meeting is this what is the store next to Shaw's? I forget, the Frugal Fanny's. We're cutting the building? Is that what the plan is? We're going to cut the building in half? Who owns that building?
That is part of the Brighton Hill Shopping Center.
Which means it's part of Harvard. It makes absolutely no sense to me that we're going to cut that building in half and put those people living in that little alley there. Harvard should give that building. All right, so certainly, at least as far as that, but I think I want to talk broadly about the Harvard issue, and I hope Kevin's still out there somewhere, because this has come up from a lot of people that, as I understand the situation, Harvard has claimed hands off at this point, and that you folks are free to go ahead and get this permitted and built. And as I also understand, the swap will not take place of land until this project is done. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, it seems to me that Harvard really wants that corner lot in Barry's Corner, so it seems to me there's a lot of leverage for you folks right now. If this doesn't get built, if it doesn't get permitted, because we all raise a stink with the BRA isn't happy with it, Harvard doesn't get the piece that it wants. So I would invite you, as I did at the last meeting, to join us in pressuring Harvard to provide some additional space, so that if we're going to do a project of this size, that it actually works in the community. And I really don't buy, and I know a lot of people in the community don't buy, that Harvard, we have nothing to do with this. That's simply not true, okay? Especially the way the deal has been structured. They're not doing the land swap until this deal is done. On a related note, and I'm talking generalizations here, but I did bring this up before. I understand that you have to have a project that works financially, but again, if, as I understand it, Harvard is paying for the first 213 replacement units, which means there are a lot of economies of scale to be advantaged here, because the first 213 are being paid for by them, which means it should be a little easier. And I know you folks have done other projects, and I know there's always math to be done, but with the first 213 paid for, it seems to me that the need for market rate or the need for the project to be this size is reduced, because you're not looking to finance the entire project on the market rate, which I understand. I do want to address, and this is a specific question instead of my pontificating, how long, is there an existing affordable housing contract at Charlesview? When is it set to expire, and will you be entering into a new long-term contract as part of this development?
There is an existing Section 8 contract at Charlesview. It's for 200 units.
Okay.
Okay. 200 out of the 213 units are assisted by a project-based assistance contract.
Okay.
Okay. That contract has been renewed, and at this point is renewed for a 5-year basis.
Okay.
On a 5-year basis, and the intent is that it would continue to be renewed as Congress continues to appropriate for the Section 8 authority.
What about any of the new units being built? How are they being constructed with respect to their long-term affordability?
They're being constructed within the context of utilizing the low-income housing tax credit.
Okay, which if you utilize it, how long will you be required under that contract to keep the units affordable?
Well, they give you a certain, there are some choices, but typically there's a 15, 40, and in perpetuity election. So
minimum of 15, is that?
Typically 40. Yeah.
Typically 40, okay. Because obviously for a lot of us, if we're willing to, I think a lot of us understand the need for affordable housing, we don't want these to go on the market rate in 5 years.
Sure.
Okay. just to clarify, because this is a new thing that has come up, and I assume it's in response to community comments about not enough 3 and 4 units, and there have been referenced several times tonight to people who are overhoused at Charlesview. We would appreciate if we could get those numbers, hard numbers. If you're telling us that there are 6 families in Charlesview who are in 3 bedrooms who will transition to 2 bedrooms here or 1 bedrooms here, it will help us to know what that number is, so we know how many truly 3 and 4 bedrooms are going to be available here. Okay.
We can give you snapshot, but the problem is it's a moving target.
Okay.
Because households change so much. So, I mean, we can give you a best guesstimate, but remember we're talking about 3 years down the road at a minimum. So you're talking about today or?
Well, let's just say this. Let me just clarify my point, which I think you understand.
I'm looking at some numbers at today. How many 4 bedrooms do you need today? How many 3 bedrooms do you need today?
Okay.
And then we can think.
We can 3 years down. But remember if you have a kid in there who's 20, in 3 years the kid will be gone.
So they won't.
Okay. Well, you have to make some set of assumptions about what's going to happen, but our assumption is that some grown folks actually leave home. And so I think what we can do is give you a guesstimate of what that looks like. And
let me just clarify my point, and this will go to all of you. If the answer to our concern of there aren't enough 3 and 4 bedrooms in this is, yes, but they're going to be more freed up because people from Charlesview aren't going to use them anymore, then I think it's only fair that we understand what those numbers are. So if we're going to clamor for more, we know what apples and apples are here. So, and then my last comment, I guess, and I brought this up at the IAG meeting, I think a lot of people feel this way. I'm concerned about the long-term financial stability of the project. And what I mean by that is we look over Charlesview and it's disgraceful that those buildings were allowed to go into such disrepair, and we don't want to wake up 30 years or 20 years from now to find that this project has also not been maintained properly. So whether that means, again, we turn to our good friends across the river, I don't really care where the money comes from, but I think we all want to see that there is a fund here. And frankly, I heard some references tonight that I've not heard before to the condo fees. I don't really think it's appropriate that the long-term financial stability of an affordable housing project that is supposed to be consistent with Community Builders' mission and Harvard's mission and our community's belief shouldn't be financed on the backs of low-income people via their condo fees. We certainly need to get some financing up front that we ensure that we don't wake up in 20 years and the buildings aren't being properly maintained. You understand my point? If it's just on the condo fees, we're going to start to at some point price our own people out of these houses. And